Hello, my name is Lisa Esposito. We're here at the Firehouse Center for the Arts in Newburyport. I'm the director of the Gallery, the Institution for Savings Art Gallery here at the Firehouse. Welcome to the second edition of the North Shore Arts Video Journal. I'd like to introduce you to the theater and to the gallery downstairs here on the first floor here in Newburyport. But let me first share with you some of the special features of this second edition. The Saltbox Gallery is a cooperative gallery which has been in existence for many years, and Priscilla Brown and George Hilton will tell us about it from George's beautiful studio in Georgetown. Following that, we'll be visiting a meeting of the Abstract Artist Group of New England, focusing on the philosophy and creations of its abstract artist members. Then it's off to Rocky Neck in Gloucester to visit with Steve LaPierre, a Haverhill native who has painted around the world and now has settled on Rocky Neck. He will showcase a very eclectic body of work. But let me begin right here in Newburyport with the Firehouse Center for the Arts and its art gallery. We're here at the Firehouse Center for the Arts in our Institution for Savings Art Gallery. I'm the director of the art gallery. I'm actually also the director of our arts education programs. For a little bit of background of myself, I am a retired university professor. I taught philosophy at the university level for some 30 years. Relocated back here to New England. I've been out of the country for some 3 or 4 decades, so I'm glad to be back home to my New England roots. Even though I was a philosophy professor for those years, I actually started painting some 10 years ago. I'm self-taught. My style of art is abstract expressionism, so it's completely non-objective artwork. There are no recognizable images, there's no realism whatsoever. I tend to use very bold, sweeping, gestural, but still highly blended strokes, or technique, if you will. And I've just actually had my own reception and show here at the Firehouse this past month. It was very successful. But I have an art website, lisaesposito.com, where one can find my background information and some of my art thoughts, my artist statement, and all of my artwork is posted there. I've shown my work in Italy. I'm represented by a gallery in Missouri, but I've had a number of shows and exhibits, and I've done well for being a self-taught person. But I'm thrilled now to be working here at the Firehouse and supporting other artists in their creative pursuits and expressing themselves artistically and then getting out in the public eye. I'm happy to share with you a special event that we hold here in the art gallery every spring. We put out a call, as director of the art gallery, I put out a call for artist submissions. And every spring we have many artists submitting digital portfolios of their work. And we have this annual juried blind review competition, and our visual arts review board reviews all of these artist portfolios, and we select 13 individual artists for their exceptional work in a range of mediums other than sculpture, a range of mediums in two-dimensional visual art. We select the 13 artists for individual month-long one-person art exhibits here in the gallery. The gallery itself, here located here on the ground floor of the Firehouse, has some 50 linear feet of wall space, and the ceilings are between 10 and 12 feet high. So we can accommodate large exhibits and even more intimate or smaller exhibits. Each month, for each artist exhibit, there is a reception open to the public, and it's an excellent opportunity to meet the artist and to speak with him or her about their artwork, their technique, and to meet many other supporters of the arts, the visual arts here in Newburyport in the local region. So it's a wonderful reason to come by the gallery frequently, because the exhibits change every month, and again there's a wide range of mediums that are represented. And now we're upstairs in our Aracelian Theater, our community-based, non-equity performing theater. We have 187 seats. Year-round, the Firehouse offers a wide range of performances, live music, theater, dance, full dramatic performances from our non-equity theater community here. We also have signature festivals such as the New Works Festival that's taking place in January. And this festival, which is a signature Firehouse production, is in its 15th annual year. It celebrates New England playwrights, directors, and actors. And it's actually a juried event where dramatic works are submitted and then selected by blind review by a judging panel. And then these selected winners are put on full production for audiences to view the work. So the Arachelian Theater, what is particularly special about this 187-seat theater is the acoustics are exceptional and there isn't a bad seat in the house. So if you're looking for great live entertainment, the performing arts, visual arts, without fighting Boston traffic, here's where you want to be. Tremendous variety, and there's something for everyone. So please do visit us, and you can see all of our performances and shows and everything that we have to offer on our website, firehouse.org. Hope to see you soon. Thank you. And now, Priscilla Lane Brown and George Hilton will fill us in on the history and activities of the Saltbox Gallery, a North Shore-based cooperative venture of many artists.
Hello, I'm Priscilla Brown, and I am here with George Hilton in his beautiful gallery, and we're here to show you a little bit of our artwork and talk a little bit about the Saltbox Gallery. The Saltbox Gallery was formed in 28 years ago by Isabella Grabowski and Win Folan, both of them Topsfield artists, who got together with the idea that we would form a partnership gallery to promote our artwork and the arts, and to work in conjunction with the community to bring more art into the community. To implement this particular process, to connect with the community, in the past we have run scholarships, workshops. We have run workshops for the Proctor Elementary School. Win Folan organized art fairs at Masconomet. We have done art shows for seniors in the North Shore, senior high school students in the North Shore community several years in a row. We've done individual fundraisers for people in need and also for community events. So this was all done to show our appreciation to the community for the support of our art in our gallery and in the community in general. Now, when Win Folan came to me with this idea, I thought, it'll never work. An art gallery in Topsfield? But here we are, 28 years later, and we're still going strong. We are still painting pictures and sculpture and pottery and various other forms of art. We have several jewelers in our gallery, and we continue to promote art, and we continue to welcome new members into the community. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my work now. This is a small display of it. This is one of my more recent ones that I did. It's I have a special place in New Hampshire where I go over a hill and see this gorgeous view of the mountains. So last fall, actually it's a last fall painting, I went to my studio and painted this, and I'm very excited about it because normally I paint on location, but this one was more from my head and what I had absorbed from passing that so many times. Our next one is a cottage up on Peaks Island, which I've done several times. It's a beautiful Victorian cottage, and I love doing buildings. So it's very colorful. I am quite a colorful watercolor artist for the most part, as you can see. But occasionally I do something a little less colorful, like this next painting, which I did on a workshop in England. And it was interesting doing this because I was there for 2 weeks, I believe, and I think it rained every single day. But there were periods in the day when it wasn't raining, and I had just about completed this painting when it started to rain on it. So you can see the raindrops are put there by Mother Nature or God, whoever you'd like to say. which really enhanced the painting, I think, so I didn't bother to try to correct it. This next painting is a painting of Assisi in Italy. It's a smaller painting. I was in Assisi with my daughter and a couple of friends, and Assisi is a beautiful little town in Italy, so I wanted to capture a bit of Italy, which I've painted in several times. So this is just a smattering of my work, and I'd like to have George come up now and talk about his work.
Hi, I'm George Hilton, and welcome to my studio overlooking Rock Pond located in Georgetown, Massachusetts. I carve detailed life-size fish, birds, and mammals. I add taxidermy museum-quality eyeballs, glass eyeballs, and I also paint it with true-to-life colors. Some of the skills I picked up in doing this work, I was a taxidermist for about 25 years. And all fish that are taxidermy mounted have all their detail and colors airbrushed on because they lose it in the process of mounting. I go way back in the outdoors, and my earliest memories, I've always admired and studied wildlife. And I think that every animal is nature's perfect work of art. And the masterpieces they create are the spirit behind what I do here today. A lot of people ask me, what's my favorite piece? And the truth is, it's usually the one I'm just about to start or have just started. So I'd like to show you my favorite piece. This is my current favorite piece. It's a pouncing fox. I'm going to mount him on a snow-covered base. A fox will often sit in the snow and stare at a hole in the snow and listen for vibrations or any sounds, and then he'll jump in the air and thrust his face into the snow, grabbing his next meal. And what I'm doing here is actually a snapshot in time of that fox in midair, and obviously it's not finished. The tiger is my latest finished piece. I didn't want to emphasize the ferocity of a tiger because he's kind of intimidating looking as it is. He's quite large. I didn't want to show teeth or a snarl, so I chose this kind of a predatory stare, and to me it just says, let's eat. This is my American flamingo. A lot of people look at this and say, aren't flamingos all pink? Well, that's not entirely true. Flamingos that are indigenous to the Americas and the Caribbean are orange. And if you see a pink one at a zoo or on TV, those came from Southeast Asia or Africa. I had to build the legs out of steel because they're very thin and it had to support the weight here. This is a dolphin fish, not to be confused with a marine mammal dolphin or a porpoise. It's one of the most colorful fish that swim in the ocean. The Spanish gave it the name dorado, which means gold. That's because of all the gold hues it flashes when it's streaming through the water. Restaurants, if you look on their menu, you'll see it as mahi-mahi. It's a very popular table fish. An interesting thing about these fish is shortly after they're caught, within just seconds, they lose all their color. And they turn a very pale gray-white color. So they're not an easy study to paint, and they're almost difficult to photograph. I painted this using a 32-step process, layering process I have, and used probably 20 to 30 colors to bring out the iridescence of the fish.
I'd like to tell you a little bit more about our gallery before we close. We have 3 shows a year. 2 of them are at the Topsfield Fairgrounds in the Coolidge Center for the Arts. We have one in November and we have one in the spring. I believe it will be in April next year. We also have a show out on Plum Island at Pitter Hall in July. And you'll find a good representation of all the artists' work, particularly at the shows at the fairgrounds because it's a large building and we can show a fair amount of our work. We have a show coming up and I'll let George tell you the details on that.
As an artist, I'm privileged to work among the talent of the Saltbox Gallery. We have a show coming up November 18th and 20th, and I hope you come there to see all our artists and their work at the Topsfield Fairgrounds, Coolidge Hall, located in Topsfield, Massachusetts.
I hope you all enjoyed a little view of our artwork and a little information about the Saltbox Gallery. And I would like to thank George for inviting us to use his beautiful studio here. And
You're welcome.
I hope we'll see you at the gallery.
Thanks, Priscilla and George. And that certainly is a very attractive studio you have right there on the lake, George. The art scene on the North Shore is a vibrant one, and there are many gatherings of artists of varying interests each month. In this segment, we sit in on a meeting with the abstract artists of New England at a recent meeting of the Newburyport Art Association right here in Newburyport. The artists describe their motivation and creative processes when undertaking abstract art.
I'm Muriel Angelil, and we're at the Newburyport Art Association on Water Street in Newburyport, and we meet here every first Tuesday of the month, and I'm the chairperson of this group. I am going to give you the history of the group. 15 years ago, the Abstract Artist Group of New England was an idea. Today, it is a growing interest group at the Newburyport Art Association, presenting several shows a year featuring abstract and experimental art. The group started with a dual mission: to support, encourage, and promote abstract and non-traditional artists, and to educate the public about their work. Abstract and experimental art is a research into the inner landscape. All artistic forms usually can be spontaneous, intuitive, introspective, enigmatic, or elusive. By contrast, other images can be patterned, geometric, or curvilinear. All these images have something in common. Even though the viewer might see landscapes or figures, they are all non-recognizable and fluid, and thus abstract.
My name is Cheryl Diamond. To me, the fun of these things is to make something come together in a cohesive way, whether it's, just like a traditional painting, it needs to do that too, and it's a little bit more challenging, I think, with an abstract piece.
My name is Ted Lee. I am a painter and a collage artist, and I like materials, lots of materials, different kinds. So I have lots of pieces in process. So what I'm after is a kind of discovered order, visual order. I'm looking for a kind of discovered order that can't be described in words, and hopefully it kind of comes from beyond me.
My name is Karen Dobin, and I'm an abstract acrylic painter. So this started very differently than it ended up, and like you said, the geometrics, it's very hard for me to get away from at times. Recently, a lot of my paintings have these squares and circles in them that are like windows and doorways, and this becomes sort of adobe-like.
I'm Sharon Don. I work in acrylic, water medium, and some mixed media also. What I brought tonight is a little contrast in what I was doing and what I am doing. I started working very spontaneously in this style of painting where I work with a lot of layers, and I let the painting tell me where to go next. So that's why you have a lot of layers, you make decisions along the way. So this painting was very spontaneous underneath, and then it gets a little bit less spontaneous and more controlled as the artwork talks to me. And this one, I plan ahead. This one, the name of the painting is Good Day Sunshine. So everything in this painting, I wanted to tell the story about what I would do if I was painting sunshine. I just think it's kind of interesting to show the contrast of where I was and where I am now, but I do paint like this sometimes.
I'm Christine Whalen Waller. This is actually my first foray into abstraction. I've gone on from this to doing much more direct oil painting in abstract, because oil painting has always been my true love, but this was my first start into abstraction.
My name is Ethel Hills. I work in watercolor, acrylic, collage, and these are a couple of pieces that I'm doing for a show. We do a 6x6 show for Women's Caucus for Art. And these are in process. They're kind of like my farm series, so there's kind of a grid, like a property line kind of grid, and sort of natural landscape features. And so these are still in process.
My name is Madeline Axford Murphy. I am a fiber artist. This is my latest piece. I usually begin, well, all of my pieces are made up with my own hand-dyed fabrics, either cotton or silk. This is all cotton. It starts, there are various techniques I use. This particular technique is one where I start with a background that's heavily textured and actually was created through a process of snow dyeing. And then I build up on the background.
Our thanks to the abstract artists of New England for inviting us to share in their meeting. Finally, we'll be visiting Rocky Neck in Gloucester, where local artist Steve LaPierre will tell us about his interesting career and show us around his studio. As you might expect, Steve's works depict a wide range of subjects.
Hey, welcome to Gloucester, Massachusetts. We're on Rocky Neck. I'm Steve LaPierre. This is my studio. Come on in, check it out. I started painting when I was a kid. I don't even remember, like really little. Anyways, I drew on everything I could get my hands on. You know, like I would draw on the ground, I would draw on desks, I would draw on walls. Got my butt kicked, spanked a few times as a kid doing it. But they understood that I was an artist in the end. And so they gave me a few breaks here and there. You can ask some of my art teachers about that in grammar school. Anyways, I'm pretty much self-taught. You know, I learned from some people that told me the foundation of painting, but I think it's instilled in my heart and soul and my body, and it just flows out of me all the time. So I think I was born with this stuff. I've traveled all around the world painting pictures of places. I primarily paint plein air painting, what is actually from life or from air. Out on location. So all my paintings that you'll see in my studio were painted on location. I had a stint where I lived in Oslo, Norway for about a year and a half, and it was just quite an experience to be able to, you know, learn the culture and see and experience some of God's nature and seeing some of the beauty of this world. So I've had some great opportunities to do that, but I've also seen America, which is unbelievable from coast to coast, north, south, east, and west. So I really look forward to being here, you know, and making this my home for a bit, and you know, painting what I see. And so this is my studio, and I want to show you what I've been working on since I've been at Rocky Neck. This is my latest piece. This is the Great Clown Race. I'm trying to sort of revive the clown and remind people that we're all clowns, and we sort of metaphorically, if you will, represent the clown in all its glory. And this is the Great Clown Race, like our human race. And so here it is with our, self-imposed selfie sticks and our cell phones and everything else that goes along with it. And so these are pieces that I've done all around the country and actually the world. This one's from Norway, and you can see how the buildings, the light is different than perhaps the buildings in the light of Key West. But I've had the pleasure of painting here in Gloucester and Cape Ann, and it's been so wonderful. I completely understand why all those great American painters came here to paint this light, because it is it's overwhelming, even though I've been focused on my clowns since I've been here. To go out and just paint the light in the mornings or in the afternoons, it's been a great pleasure. And to bring a few of my friends into town and say, hey, you gotta come up to Gloucester, Massachusetts, because this is the light, man. This is the light. We'll see the light. And so it's been a blast. Now, as an artist, there's so much to paint all the time and everywhere I go. I mean, you look at all the great artists throughout art history and in all the different countries and in all the different states here in America. But some of my favorite things to paint are my night paintings. These things are like, they take their own life on with the light. I don't know how I do it. I just observe and I see the light and I go out there and I find the right conditions and I paint. Things are moving, things are always changing, so it is a challenge, but I pull it off, as you can see. As I said earlier, I love working on my clowns because we're sort of clowns, if you will. I mean, the human condition, right? So these are my, this is really what I've been concentrating on the last year, and this is the political revolution. And it's a political revolution of clowns spinning in a circle. And here, this one is called the taxi ride. And you notice they're all on cell phones. They're all getting into the taxi. Eventually we will too. Now come on over here, I want to show you this one. It's all downhill from here. One more, come on. This one here is my latest one. And it's a clown being shot out of a cannon. It's called the Digital Satellite Communications. And it's about everything going viral. And I'd like also to mention that, maybe you could come to my studio and visit me. It'd be fun to, hang out maybe and look at some paintings together and talk about painting and talk about how beautiful Gloucester, Massachusetts is. So come on down to Rocky Neck when you get a chance and join the fun. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Steve. You certainly covered a wide range of topics in your work. Well, that's it for this edition of North Shore Arts Video Journal. We hope you enjoyed it, and we give a special thanks to Priscilla Lane Brown and George Hilton from the Saltbox Gallery, the members of the Abstract Art Group of New England, and Steve LaPierre from Rocky Neck. I'm Lisa Esposito, Director of the Art Gallery here at the Firehouse Center for the Arts. Thanks for watching.